There is a bag in this room that nobody in this country is allowed to open. Not the police, not customs, not a judge. They don't know what's inside. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that they will never find out. This is Guy. Guy has a job where he legally cannot be arrested. I park like this now. I have never paid one of these. I can't be made to. I'm not being clever. I'm not exploiting a loophole. There is a treaty. It's from 1961. It's 4,000 words long. And it says the police may not touch me. Yeah, hi, I'm Guy. I took an admin job at an embassy because it had dental, and then somebody explained the building to me. Let me explain it to you, because it is not one rule. It's a ladder. Each rung, the law applies to you slightly less. And I'd like to say I climbed it carefully. We'll get to that.
Rung 0. You're a visitor. You have exactly as much immunity as you had on the pavement.
First, let me kill something you think you know. An embassy is not foreign soil. It is not a little piece of another country sitting in this one. That is a myth, and it is in every single film. The ground under that building belongs to the host country. It always did. What changed is not the ownership, it's the permission. But, and this is the part that surprised me, the building itself has it. Article 22. The mission's premises are inviolable. Local police cannot enter. Not with a warrant, not with a fire, not without being invited. Let me explain what that actually means. It's not that they need permission, it's that there is no permission to get. There's no form, no judge who can sign it. Let me explain it with a hotel room. While you are in it, staff cannot simply walk in. That does not make the room yours. It makes it off limits. There is a difference, and the difference is the whole episode. An embassy is a hotel room that a country checked into in 1954 and never left. And yes, that includes a fire. If the building is burning, the fire service still needs consent to go in. In practice, that consent takes about 4 seconds, but it has to be given. That is the part people find hard to believe. The permission is not a formality. The permission is the entire wall. I stepped over a painted line and the law stopped following me.
Rung 1. Service staff. Drivers, cooks, cleaners. Article 37 gives them immunity for things they do as part of the job. Only those things. On the clock, protected. Off the clock, a person. Same man, same street, different legal species, twice a day.
Which produces the strangest sentence in that building.
The cleaner is immune while cleaning, and not immune while walking to the bus.
And that gap is where every awkward conversation in that building lives.
And they know. Everybody on that rung knows exactly which minute of the day they stop being protected. You can watch them check the clock.
And I want to stop here for a second, because this is the rung you actually know. You've got one of these. There's a rule at your work or in your family that quietly doesn't apply to one particular person. You know exactly who I mean. You thought of them immediately. This is that, with a treaty behind it and a car.
Rung 2. Administrative and technical staff. This is me. This is the dental job. And Rung 2 is where it stops being a technicality. Full immunity from criminal prosecution. Not a good lawyer. Not hard to convict. The court does not have the power to hear the case. There is nothing to fight because there is nothing to attend. Let me explain the difference because it took me a week. Innocent means the room decided about you. Immune means the room isn't allowed to be about you. There are exceptions, and they are all about money. Article 31 lets the court back in for property you personally own, for an inheritance, and for a business you run on the side. So the rule was never, you are above the law. The rule is, you are above the law while you are being a diplomat. The second you act like a landlord, you are a landlord. Right? Well, not exactly. Because the case doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits for the day I stop being staff. Because here's the thing about a case that waits. It does not age out politely. Your posting ends, you go home or you go somewhere else, and the file is still sitting in a drawer in a country you can no longer comfortably land in. There are people who have not changed planes in a particular airport in 30 years. Not fugitives, former staff. Rung 3. The diplomatic agent. Attaché, third secretary, second, first, counselor.
The word the treaty uses is inviolable, Article 29. And it doesn't mean immune from prosecution. It means you may not be touched. Not arrested, not detained, not handcuffed, not held, not put in a car. Think of a hall pass. It does not say you are a good student. It says that for this corridor, at this hour, nobody is allowed to ask you what you are doing. And a hall pass has one obvious weakness, which we will get to, and which I did not think about even once. Article 30. Their home is inviolable too. Their papers, their car, and Article 37 covers their family. Their teenagers have it. Somewhere there is a 16-year-old who cannot legally be arrested and knows it. Sensational. There is even a person whose entire job is to escort the bag, the diplomatic courier. He carries a document saying what he is, and under the same article, he cannot be arrested or detained either. A man walking through an airport who is legally a piece of luggage. Article 29 also says the receiving state must treat a diplomatic agent with due respect and take all appropriate steps to prevent any attack on his person, his freedom, or his dignity. Read that one again. The country you might be committing crimes in is legally required to protect your feelings. So let's recap. Nobody can enter the building, I can't be prosecuted, my boss can't be touched, or his house, or his kid. Reasonable so far. Rung 4 is not a person. Uh-oh. Article 27. The diplomatic bag shall not be opened or detained. Not scanned, not x-rayed, not held while somebody makes a call. It has to be marked as a bag, and it's supposed to contain only official material. And nobody on Earth is permitted to check whether that's true. I call it the sealed answer, because that's what it is. A question with a lid on it walking through an airport. And x-raying it counts as opening it. A scanner does not break the seal, but it answers the question. And answering the question is the exact thing the treaty forbids. Which means the whole system runs on the honesty of whoever sealed the bag. That's it. That's the mechanism. So what is actually in them? Officially, documents and equipment. Also, genuinely, furniture. Embassies ship their own sofas in because a sofa bought locally is a sofa somebody else has already been inside of. The treaty says a bag must be marked and must hold official material. It does not say how big a bag is. A bag can be a crate. A crate is still a bag. Rung 5. The ambassador. Head of mission. Everything below, at maximum, plus one thing nobody else gets. He is not a guest of the government. He is a guest of the head of state. Which is why the ceremony is so absurd. He hands over a letter, on paper, by hand, in a building with email. Letters of credence. That is what the document is actually called. And until he hands it over, he is not the ambassador. He is a man in a very good coat with an extremely expensive commute. And they rank each other by arrival date. Not by the size of the country, not by its economy, not by importance. Whoever handed over their letter first, goes first, forever. There is a man somewhere who outranks a superpower at dinner because he landed on a Tuesday. And I stood at the back of that room and thought, every single person here is protected by a document, and not one of them wrote it. Which was the first slightly cold thought I'd had in the job. It was not the last. Rung 6, and it goes down. Article 32. The immunity can be waived. Not by me. I can't waive it. It was never mine to hold. It belongs to the country that sent me. They can hand me over whenever it costs them less than keeping me. And there's a second one, under the other foot. Article 9. The host country can declare me persona non grata at any time. The treaty says, without having to explain its decision. That's the actual wording. No reason, no appeal, no hearing. So, 2 trapdoors, one under each foot, operated by 2 different governments, neither of whom has to tell me why. And here is what nobody tells you about the waiver. It almost never happens for small things. It happens when the story gets big enough. So your protection is not proportional to what you did. It is proportional to how much attention it got. Which means the safest thing you can possibly be inside that building is boring. I was extremely good at that. It is the only thing on my CV that ever paid off. Step 1, you are useful. Step 2, you are visible. Step 3, you are expensive. And nobody tells you which step you are currently standing on. And all those tickets? The case that was waiting? It's still waiting. It was always still waiting. Immunity isn't an eraser. It's a pause button that somebody else is holding. And you'd have taken the job too. That's not an accusation. Anyone offered a rule that doesn't apply to them takes it. That's what the rung is for.
It took 11 months.
I never found out which article they used. That's rather the point of both of them. 48 hours. Escorted to a plane. Nobody searched me. Nobody asked me anything. Unopened, uninspected, unexplained. I was the bag. I'd been the bag the whole time. I still do not know what was in the bag. That's Guy. He found a rule that didn't apply to him and never once asked whose rule it was. I'm Guy. For 11 months, I could not be touched. Turns out that's not the same thing as being safe. I work in logistics now. Real logistics. I pay for parking. Legal disclaimer. This is not legal advice, and you do not have diplomatic immunity. I checked. For you, you don't. Subscribe and hit the bell. There's another ladder, and I'm already on it. Anyway, that's Guy. See you in the next one, I guess.